That's mega bogus.
Yeah, so Rocket Power sucks. I mean, well, probably. Not the series, not your whole childhood. I'm talking about 2 Rocket Power games, actually. Somewhere from the deep bowels of chaos and entropy, an impulse was born, and that impulse commanded, nay, compelled me to replay these 2 old games, Rocket Power Team Rocket Rescue and Rocket Power Beach Bandits for the PlayStation and PlayStation 2, respectively. So, no bullshit, no hesitation, let's just download into this shit. And what? So, Rocket Power Team Rocket Rescue was released in 2001 under the THQ label, and some developer named Dark Black? I've never heard of them before. They literally don't even have a Wikipedia page, and that, my friends, is a sign. Before we begin, I want to set the scene. Imagine 8-year-old Jay, that's me, sitting in his bedroom ready to play a video game based on one of his favorite cartoons at the time, Rocket Power. I was excited. I didn't know it at the time, but I would never finish this game, not till the year 2022. I'm 29 now. This is one of those games that really wasn't trying very hard. Even the fucking emulator doesn't have time for this shit. It kept freaking out, so I had to keep changing the settings and the resolution and whatnot, and no matter what I did, I just couldn't get the intro video to play.
Don't worry about it, Twist. The way things are going, you guys will be buying all your gear from Snowmart soon.
The story's super simple anyway. Some mega corporation, let's call it Amazon, has set up shop nearby, and they're taking all the business from Daddy Rocket's sports shop over here. So Team Rocket decides to get Rocket Board some publicity by winning the big skate competition. So you choose your character and select the first map, and... Okay, let's dissect this. Are they just not going to give me a tutorial? What the fuck? The game just fucking drops me down on this stupid map and is just like, go. At least give a little bit of a shit. You see, this game was made back in the good old days, 2001, a year in which nothing significant happened. Games back then were made for men, not some blue-haired, snowflake, SJW, cancer culture little baby. Games back then didn't hold your hand, teach you the basic functionality and means through which you interact with this game. Fuck you! The most you get is a control remap function that you can't even access in the middle of a level. Also, hope you didn't get too used to the music, because that's the last you'll be hearing of it. I don't know why the music is gone. There's a music option in the menu, but like, it doesn't seem to do anything here. It could be a glitch with the emulator, I guess, but the music works in the fucking menu, so what gives? Anyway, if it wasn't obvious, the controls are fucking awful. Otto turns like he just ate an entire whale, and he's constantly getting stuck on things like his momentum won't allow you to unglue yourself from any surfaces. What's also impossible to see in this footage is something I didn't notice till later. I'm not getting any points for these tricks, if you could even call them tricks. The reason is, despite there not being any changes in animation, if you land while holding down the jump or accelerate button, one of the two, whichever one is more annoying, your trick will just fail for no reason. And it's so natural to do it. Even after I figured out what was happening, I had trouble untraining myself because it just made sense to keep accelerating after landing. This isn't such a problem in a lot of the challenges because doing tricks is completely unnecessary for many levels. Like this one, all I need to do is get down the mountain in time, which is hard enough with these fucking glue stick controls, so there's no point in trying to spice things up. You really are encouraged throughout this game to skate and like have fun as little as possible. It's mostly about hyper-focusing on the task you need to complete and straying off the path to do a cool trick only when absolutely necessary. But guys, you don't even know how bad it's going to get. On to the next level. No splash! So there are 4 stages with 4 events each. The game only shows you 3, but between events 1 and 2 for each stage, you get a no splash! Where Amazon, pulls some dick move to try to disqualify you from the next major competition event. So for this first one, they steal your fucking bike and take it apart? I'm imagining Jeff Bezos, literally Jeff Bezos, coming out from his super yacht after a kink session where he gets pissed on by a delivery driver and ass fucked by a drone, just to steal this kid's fucking bike and break it apart right in front of him. So instead of just trashing the bike, they hide the parts all around the pier, and you've got to skate around to find it within a certain time limit. I remember this. The infinite pangs of loneliness, the dreary, unending silence, the edges sharp like knives, as though no hands had ever touched this place. I had lost myself in that soulless vacuity. I would never recover. So yeah, I guess we're never hearing music again. This is what 50 years of going to metal concerts without earplugs will do to you kids. The menu music still works though, and boy does that song never get annoying. In all the soul-crushing solitude, you really get to appreciate how shit the level design is. I don't think I ever finished this game when I was little, and I think this is where I gave up. The second map. Sorry, Mom, there goes your $50. Hope you didn't need it for, like, food or something. God, I hope this game wasn't $50 fucking dollars. So the game has absolutely no faith in either the player or itself. So what it does is it places invisible walls fucking everywhere in the laziest, most haphazard way. Like, oh, want to jump off the roller coaster tracks? Too fucking bad. But you can do it here in this specific spot. It's fine. Like, I get it, they put a grind rail here, so this is the one space where you can fall off, but like, just try hitting the fucking grind. Go ahead, see how smooth it feels. See how seamless it is. We're talking The Last of Us Part 2 animation fidelity here. Moving in this game is so high commitment. It's like winding up a heavy attack in Elden Ring, and with all the invisible walls, I feel so boxed in. The ramps and grind rails don't work like you expect them to. Like basically the game overcompensates for your range of movement by locking you into specific directions and animations depending on where you are when you press a button. There is this one place in the entire game where this feels good. Every other time, it feels like I'm dragging my character through a mud pit because the game can't trust me to do anything on my own. Your momentum is so stunted. You have to hit ramps at the perfect direction and press the jump button at the perfect time if you want to collect these floating pieces. Like half the time I wasted on this level was just trying to get my character to move where I wanted them to move. It became easier and more desirable to just pull back on the analog stick so my character would stop entirely.
Insane! Game over.
The other half of my time was spent trying to find these fucking bike pieces. Remember that grind rail? The one at the very top of the map? The one where you would expect an item to be? Yeah, no, there's nothing up there. They make this big ol' arena and decide just not to use half the space. The pieces are all in the most insignificant fucking places. It doesn't seem like there's any rhyme or reason to where they are. There are no cool obstacles or paths to get to them. They're just randomly placed around the map, it seems. And because the camera is like angled downward to face auto, it's hard to scan for where they might be. I ended up going to the top of the map just to take a look around, and even then, I couldn't find the last one. I've got to admit, I almost quit here. It's been a long time since I was 8 years old. 21 years in fact, but what was stopping me from repeating the mistakes I'd made back then? Was it the fear of regret, of incompletion? Was it the fear of never knowing if Otto Rocket's dad, Raymundo, would save his skate shop? Whatever it was a curse disguised as a blessing. Because I chased that old dragon. I turned to my friend Google and found that damned bike piece. I wasn't going to let old Bezos get the best of me. Not this time. Find all the pieces and you get to compete in the bike competition. Still no music. This kind of competition tasks you with getting a certain score in order to progress to the next level. Here's the fun part. The game doesn't tell you what score you need to get until after the event is over. Back in the good old days, games didn't spoil you by telling you the basic information you need to progress. The annoying thing is the game shows you at the top, high score 50,000, but it says that for every fucking stage. It's not the score that you need to pass. In fact, this 50,000 number is almost always too low to get even third place. Why is the default high score lower than the score I need to progress? What the fuck? It's always fun when you get a, well done, you beat the high score, only to immediately get slapped with a, you failed to qualify, loser. Anyway, you can get through pretty easily by just doing the same trick over and over and over and over and over and over. For the next event, a skateboard challenge, you need to get a score of 116,000? That's almost double what I had to get in the last competition. What the fuck? Little did I know at the time, getting any score in this game is easy as fucking hell. I was about to learn that this game is so terribly designed that winning by doing the same trick over and over isn't even the half of it. You see, do enough tricks and you build up your special meter. Max it out and then press L2 and then you get to do this. Yeah, yep. There's a lot going on here. You see, Auto Rocket can fly. Took his last name a little too seriously. He just enters some other dimension where gravity doesn't exist and he can chain spam tricks that net him so many points no one else can keep up. Even at this point, I didn't realize that this is even more broken. There are these stars you can get which instantly fill your special gauge, but that's not even the broken part. Because of the way jumping works in this game, you will always get a certain amount of height when jumping from neutral as long as you're accelerating. So you can just jump over and over, spamming the same move till your special meter builds up. Then you can activate your special meter from anywhere as long as you're in the air. It makes every competition a complete fucking joke, but it works because this game feels so bad to play that if I actually had to legitimately try and skate and chain tricks together, I might commit a war crime. So that's the score-based challenges done and dusted, and by this point I had a decent idea for how the exploit worked. The next event is a race, except it doesn't really feel like a race. Just grab all the lightning bolts as you go and you get so much speed you pretty much win by default. Still no music, by the way. Jeff Bezos came out from his yacht again and he's pissed. This time he breaks your skateboard into pieces, you stupid fucking bastard. This map is so silly. They built this whole fucking city with ramps and alleyways and grind rails. None of it feels good, of course, but I legit almost quit again because I just didn't feel like searching this whole map with the shitty controls and the eerie, disquieting silence all over again. But like, look how bad and lazy and dumb and stupid and shitty and lazy and bad the level design is. All the skateboard pieces are like right next to each other. You literally just skate down the street to get 4 of them and then I'm like, oh no, is the game going to make me explore? And then like, nope, I just have to turn down the next street and there they are. The other 4 pieces just floating one after the other. Why did they make this map so big? I guess they just made a bunch of arena-style maps based on the cartoon show and just designed them to be modular in a sense, meaning that they could place the collectibles wherever they wanted for various game modes. But even that doesn't explain why this event for the main story is this bad. It's not even randomized, so I can't blame it on a robot. Next challenge is another score one, nothing to see here. Next challenge after that is a snowboard score challenge. What makes it particularly difficult is the downward momentum, because if you cross the finish line, it ends the event regardless of your score. Idiot me was still under the impression that I needed the ramps to get enough air to pull off the special exploit, but this is when I learned just how wrong I was. Again, all you need to do is jump, and honestly, great. The less the game asks of me, the better. Next is another bike score challenge, still no music. There's really nothing new from here on out. You get another race, this one's simple enough, just never grind on rails, like ever. These motherfuckers took a shortcut? Also, who designs a city like this with giant fucking pitfalls in the middle of the road? What is this, Silent Hill? Next competition's another snowboard get to the bottom in time event. Only been playing for an hour and a half and it's already starting to drag. Biker Score Challenge next, dusting off the old exploit. I actually failed this one at first. I wasn't exploiting to my full potential. The sad reality is that these kids are kicking Mega Mondo ass in this competition on account of the fact that Otto can literally fly, but Raimundo is still like, sorry little broskies, but the slobbering jaws of unchecked capitalism are still going to eat me alive. And they just keep convincing themselves that if they win the competition, everything will just work out. It's so innocent. It's so cute.
Squid, if we win the finals, I guarantee rocket boards will be saved.
I hope you're right, Otto.
Speaking of the slobbering jaws of capitalism, if you like what you're seeing, consider liking and subscribing and sharing and maybe even throwing me $1 or $2 on Ko-Fi, link in the pinned comment. I make music and stories, and these videos are getting longer and longer, aren't they? Where's Death Stranding? I also want to branch into bigger projects like an episodic Soul Calibur series and some original game ideas, one of them a sexy game. So I'd like to pay people to work with me. People like getting paid, right? Lastly, the algorithm really didn't like my Pokemon Arceus video, and that's a bit depressing. So if you haven't seen it yet, iCard in the corner. Let's get on with the next competition. Daddy's gonna win a new skate shop, baby. Next thing is a snowboard score competition, another one, so many snow levels, but weirdly this one doesn't kick you out for crossing the finish line like the other one does. It just teleports you back to the top again, completely uneventfully. Like, can you imagine in real time how long that must take? Every time he reaches the bottom, the crowd just watches in total silence while Otto shambles onto the chairlift and is slowly carried back to the top. Next, there's another fucking race. This one's the hardest, but not in any fair way. The game literally just starts throwing dead ends at you and hides the finish line. Like, whoever made the levels in this game did not give a fuck. I had to watch the AI at the end to figure out where the hell I was supposed to go. Next competition's a score competition, and you know how we deal with those around these parts. Finally, we make it to the final event, the stadium. And it's a score competition, so, yeah. The game's all like, good job, you did it. And I'm like, did I? Turns out Otto's ability to literally fly scored Raimundo an advertising deal with this incredibly shady looking dude. Hello, fellow kids. Want free advertisements? Go on, take them. There's plenty of free press to go around. So that's the game. Less than 2 hours long. There's this shell collecting minigame, and I can't for the life of me understand why it exists. There are more shells than you need to collect, so I guess the game expects you to pull some cool Tony Hawk maneuvers to get all the cool shells. But like, why would I? I can just collect the easy ones. In fact, why would I bother playing this at all, ever? Why would I subject myself to that torture? You get to play as Tito? Now, I know how this is going to sound, especially given the introduction of this video, but Beach Bandits is actually kind of fun. The story gets fucking hog wild, but in a kind of fun way, and the skating doesn't feel like total ass. Rocket Power Beach Bandits came out in 2002. Wait, literally the year after Team Rocket Rescue? What? Oh shit, there's a Game Boy Advance version? I'm not doing that to myself. It was developed by Evolution Games, another studio without a Wikipedia page. I thought it was developed by the team that made Tak and the Power of Juju, because there are a shit ton of really lazy Easter eggs featuring Tak, I think it's Tak anyway, waving at you and then running away. But Tak and the Power of Juju came out after this game in 2003, and it was developed by Avalanche Software, which I don't think is related to Evolution Games, besides being under the THQ and Nickelodeon umbrella. So I really don't know what's going on here. Someone needs to get to the bottom of this. Anyway, the game has like a bit of a hub world. You get to walk and roll and board around the pier and the boardwalk and the town square, and it's janky. Still not dealing with Tony Hawk here, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't have fun just skating around, watching the citizens citizens stroll by, bumping into each other all the time, hitting them with hockey pucks. I am a simple man. One of the most immediate problems with this setup is that despite giving you the option to skate, the game seems to really not want you to do that. Every time you talk to someone, you enter a cutscene, and when you return to gameplay, it kicks you off your fucking ride. Same thing for when you go through a loading zone. And there are still some really egregious invisible walls here and there. Like, why do you hate fun, game? You also never unlock any other modes of transportation. No bikes, no surfboards. There's a jet ski and a hoverboard, but you only get to use them for very specific story segments. And none of the vehicles, aside from the jet ski, really control all that differently from any others. The other problem with this setup, and the far larger one, is that the devs seem to think that people coming in for a rocket power game really wanted to spend most of the game walking around hitting robots with a hockey stick, because that's like 70% of this game. I don't know why THQ licensed this rocket power project to a team that hates skating so much. Most of the game is a shitty platformer. There are puzzles, there are some kind of fun mini games, and you get to skate sometimes. I want to say it's because they had trouble thinking of convincing scenarios where skateboarding or rollerblading is the only solution, but like, by the end of the game you're fighting superpowered robots with force fields and there are ninjas and holograms and shit, so it really feels more like they started with a mediocre action platformer completely unrelated to rocket power. Then Nickelodeon comes along with a big sack of money and is like, "Can you add skateboards and quaint 90s colloquialisms?" Alright, so the premise is that school's out for the summer and all the sand is missing from the beach. No sand, no surf, no tourists, no money for Raymundo. Some billionaire megacorp CEO, probably Bezos again, starts buying property in ocean shores and threatening, not so subtly, to gentrify the place and shake up the economic structure. It's like a little weird how similar the two game stories are so far. Also, can I just say, while these cutscenes are lazy as fuck, we've got voice acting and fairly convincing lip sync.
We better keep our eyes peeled and go see what Raymundo thinks. We need to try and find out what's going on around here, or there will be no summer for any of us.
We hear you, brother.
Like, these cutscenes are somehow better than the majority of cutscenes in Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's heavily hinted that this billionaire, Eric Gollum, is responsible for taking the sand, so Team Rocket takes the job of figuring out what's going on here. So how each section of the game begins is that there's an ocean shore investigation where you skate, or walk, fucking piece of shit, around the area and talk to people to progress the investigation into what's happening with the sand.
What is it, Lars? Let us see.
You wish, Maurice. This is our hangout.
This leads you to completing a couple of minigames before sending you to the next section of the story. The first investigation has you completing a skate competition with Pi, which, holy shit, there's an actual tutorial in this game. Now, because the skating doesn't completely suck in this game, and is in fact one of the best things about this game, these sections are pretty cool. I like them. You get to watch Pi go first. The problem is that these competitions are not challenging at all. I fail to see how even kid me could have found this difficult. The game gives you so much time for these competitions that you'd really have to just completely check out to fail, even if you make a ton of mistakes. The other non-skating minigames feel way more challenging, and the balance is really all over the place. Beat Pi and he and his goons reveal that there are robots wandering around the pier with the Gollum Industries logo plastered all over them. Kind of an obvious sign that Gollum is involved, but alright. You go tell Officer Shirley, who's probably not a bastard, maybe. Hey, you brutalized any protesters recently? No, you wouldn't do that, right? She doesn't do anything, about as useful as most cops. Then you get another collection minigame. Again, I'm a fan of these. These collecting minigames give you an excuse to zip and zoom around this hub world, and it's fun. Except, like, even though there are grind rails and collectibles on grind rails, it still doesn't flow very well like you might want it to in a skating game. These collecting games oftentimes have sharp turns and jumps that aren't tuned quite right to the point where you'll frequently overshoot your target. And some of the collectibles just feel like they don't compensate at all for your proximity. But compared to the rest of the shit this game has you doing for the majority of its playtime, I don't mind this janky-ass skating so much. Raymundo's totally fine with you leaving town to go blow the whistle on this scummy megacorp, Father of the Year. Next step's talking to this bratty little girl, and she represents a bit of a problem. The game likes making you collect these random coins around the world. Silver coins in the hub world, and gold coins in the platforming section. Except, The game very rarely tells you what you'll need to do with these coins before shoving them in your face. You need to collect the silver coins in the investigation sections to unlock certain minigames to progress the story. It's a little annoying, but being able to freely skate around the hub world ameliorates the process a bit, and the coins are never terribly hard to come by. The gold coins are an entirely different animal, and the game never told me what they were for, at least I don't think it did. Because the silver coins were necessary for the story, I ended up going out of my way to get most of the gold coins, but I think they're only useful for unlocking extra content outside the story, so I basically wasted my fucking time. Anyway, skating around to collect these coins can really make you feel even more like these maps were not really designed to be skated on in any forward-thinking way. Like, look at these fucking stairs.
Gonna hurt tomorrow. Ow! That's gonna hurt tomorrow. Ow! That's gonna hurt tomorrow.
And the amount of momentum you can build up makes even going through the skate park a total chore and clusterfuck. Skating in the skate park doesn't feel natural. Get 15 silver coins, and it's always 15 silver coins, and you unlock a shooting gallery? Guys, you made a game about skateboarders. What's going on? These minigames are actually not that bad though, and they tended to be a lot more challenging than any of the skate challenges, even if not all that original. Win at the gallery, give the prize to Mackenzie, and you're off to the lakes. The first of many, too many, long, drawn-out action platformer sections of the game. These sections are comprised of running around on foot and shooting hockey pucks at shitty fucking robots who can sometimes attack you without performing animations whatsoever because whoever designed these parts of the game was a maniac. The game straight up lies to you too. Grinding will be really important in this area, dude. Like, no, it's fucking not. You grind in one specific area and it's the most annoying fucking jump. It very often feels, both in the skating and the platforming segments, like the game is just ignoring your button presses. And you get to retry right away in most cases, but it pisses me the hell off. Why am I running around? Why am I not skating on my rollerblades and swinging my hockey stick? You know, like street hockey? You know, like they do in the show? Come on! These parts are such a fucking drag. You spend hours doing this shit, walking around and jumping and climbing at this lethargic pace, which feels so much slower because you just gave me a fucking skateboard. These sections get broken up here and there by short skating sections, zip lining, Bioshock pipe puzzles, which are kind of difficult, and domestic terrorism?
Major trashage.
What message are we teaching the kids again? Is this fucking Frogger? Are you kidding me? I want to die! Complete this dumbass shit and you find a secret pumping facility Gollum Corporation's been using to steal water from the lakes. You then get one of a few Twister camcorder sections where, get this, you run around some more and swing at fucking robots so you can take pictures of random plot reveal objects around these poorly designed maps. The last one at least has the decency to be on rails. It's a shitty roller coaster, but at least I don't have to fucking walk around. Anyway, these pics are the evidence the kids need to take to Officer Shirley. Never mind that they just blew up a building. Please stop minding it. This shit still isn't over. You then have to get the jet ski, which is like fine. It handles like a piece of shit, but at least it's a vehicle, you know? And you don't get to see much of it, so the change of pace is nice. You've got to do this annoying puzzle where you lead these robo-sharks to blow up some generators and open a gate. More domestic terrorism. Great. I can't even call it eco-terrorism because it's probably causing a ton of pollution, like all that metal and flaming oil spilling into the lake that we just restored. Anyway, get into the lair and you do this kinda halfway decent jet ski section using a bunch of switches to fill the water to get to the top. Then you blow up this layer. Is this a responsible way to solve our problems? Gollum gets pissed and drops off the first boss fight of the game. You lure it between some rocks over and over when it decides to fucking work, and painfully maneuver your way to these ramp-shaped rocks in order to damage its head until it, you guessed it, explodes. feel like we're causing more problems than we're solving here. Hey, we just blew up several buildings and completely destroyed the lake ecosystem.
Well, you kids certainly have taken photos of something here. Looks like I'm gonna have to check it out.
Busted!
Big time! Hold it, you two. I'm not promising anything. Whatever is down there could be perfectly legal.
I mean, she's kinda got a point there. Am I siding with the Megacorp? What has gotten into me?
You watch, bro. As soon as Officer Shirley sees those pumping stations, they'll lock that Gollum guy up for good.
We blew them up. What are you talking about? Eric Gollum's son, Daddy Never Loved Me Jr., shows up and challenges you to a skate-off. This is another tutorial, specifically for the, auto?
Hit the grind button as you approach and keep it pressed down.
Investigation Day 2 has you collect more silver coins to do another shooting gallery at the pier. This one's a lot easier than the first.
I'm not sure, guys. You are being careful, aren't you?
I mean, we did blow up a building, but just minor stuff. You get a remote control to open a gate to this water park in the next section. Then you talk to Lars and his goons again and skate around collecting stink bombs so you can trade them for a bus ticket to the water park. The devs really tried to get some mileage out of this really tiny hub area, but given what we've just been through, I think you can see why I'd prefer this samey skating location over the action platforming bullshit. Get the bus tickets and you head to the next action platforming segment. More shitty level design, more fucking robots, more walking, more jumping, more button presses not registering whatsoever, and these stretch on and on. You collect a bunch of parts to build a robot. You even meet the HAL 9000 computer.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I can't allow you to jeopardize my mission.
How many children who are into rocket power are going to get a 2001 A Space Odyssey reference? I mean, I don't mind it. I like when creators throw in these nerdy references. And this is the first clue in the game that the robots have some sort of sentience and world domination goals. It doesn't really matter all that much, but the game treats it like uncovering some epic secret. Build your robot and there's more action platforming bullshit. This robot walks so slowly. And it feels like it's walking even slower than the kids. And you have to do this dumbass training section where you're waiting for ages for platforms to take you to other platforms, to take you to jump ramps, to take you to more platforms. I knew this was a platform game, but I mean, come on. Hal shoots a fucking laser through your robot and Sam just walks out like, oh man? Like, dude, you could have fucking died. How are you guys not terrified for your lives? Take some more pictures with Twister. Is Eric Gollum, is he poking a penis? I'm not just imagining it, right? Finish taking the pictures, then you jump off a catwalk and die, and then you get to take those same pictures over again. Then you go flip some circuits, then you face off against the HAL 9000, and honestly, this is a pretty interesting concept. I mean, it goes on for way too long with you needing to build up a specific amount of speed and skate to specific spots to hit the circuit boards, and there are 28 of them. And the fucking hoverboard ninja bots are goddamn pieces of shit who I keep getting stuck to. But I wanted interesting skating scenarios and I got interesting skating scenarios, so I am legally prohibited from complaining. Of course, the building explodes. We're 4 for 4 now. This is when Otto snags the hoverboard, but you don't get to use it just yet. Though, I am happy to say that we are more than halfway through the game at this point. Next investigation has you collecting more silver coins. You complete a food delivery minigame, brush your domestic terrorism under the rug, do another skate minigame with Twister, and cap it off with an actually pretty fun bumper cars minigame. I can imagine this being a really cool multiplayer mode, but I don't have any friends. Going back to the skate minigame, it's interesting that they added some different ramps and grind rails. Kind of feels like they knew the vanilla skate park is really lame as a skating arena, so they spruced it up for this specific event only. And yeah, I get they're being as faithful as they can to the source material, but I hate this fucking skate park. I much prefer the town square as a skating arena. Beating this gets you the mountain board, which is just an aesthetic change for story purposes. I love that they didn't bother putting real spectators in this event. They just play canned applause over a panning camera as if no one would notice. Lars challenges you to a race down a path on Mondo Mountain. If you win, he promises to show you a hidden path on the mountain trail. This is fine. It's not a real race, you just have to complete it, but also the camera just kept freaking out. This leads to the absolute fucking worst action platforming section of the game. You're jumping across these insta-kill pits, shooting hockey pucks at these tank robots which have no tell that you're even doing damage to them. more fucking walking, more goddamn jumping, all the way up a fucking mountain. You even get a mini boss here.
Who disturbs the great volcano god? None shall pass. Malfunction.
Too bad I had the god puck, that was easy. Then it's more walking, more jumping, longer jumps this time with the stupid air draft mechanic, which never feels precise or reliable. Finally, you get to use the fucking hoverboard, but the way the tunnel is designed makes the sequence not terribly thrilling or fun. Again, it feels no different really from riding a skateboard, even though I do like the effect. Make it down and you spend the next fucking 20 minutes running through a cramped air duct with dead ends and pitfalls and ninja robots which are invincible except for one incredibly specific window during a single animation where you get to hit them despite there being no tell that they are vulnerable during that period. Then you're still not done. You get to run around some more cramped rooms and jump on some more stupid pipes and whatever the fuck these are, and then do this shit. Then run around this dumb facility with electrified floors so you can find some dumbass circuit board, then backtrack just so Twister can take some more pictures. Holy fucking god. And then you're still not done because Gollum tries to stimulate the volcano, fucking pervert. So you run around some more catwalks and press 8 stupid ass buttons until the facility falls apart and Gollum falls to his death. The kids are like really not concerned at all about having just killed that guy. Except he's not dead, he was a fucking robot all along. So you break some more pillars to get him to fall into the lava because that really worked the first time. Then you do this stupid shit where the fastest way to beat him is to get the god puck and let him hit you so his force field drops. And you do that way too many times. But sometimes his AI won't even let you fucking do that because he gets obsessed with chasing you around. So the volcano has legitimately erupted and no one cares how devastating this could be.
How long will we get grounded for blowing up a mountain?
Chill, Sammy.
Yeah.
So Gollum's son reveals himself to be the real jerk face behind everything and he summons a fucking tsunami to kill everyone? What the fuck? So I actually lost my original footage of this, but this game has a pretty nifty level select feature so you can replay all those amazing and memorable moments like walking around the water park or walking around the volcano or walking around the lakes or walking. The last stretch of this game is a 4-part race. Rollerblades with Twister, jet ski with Reggie, skateboard with Sam, and hoverboard with Otto. I remember this being way more epic as a kid. Now it's, it's fine. If you use all the boost pads like a functional adult, it really doesn't feel like a race at all. So my second attempt, I ended up avoiding boost pads on purpose just to make it more challenging. Weirdly, the jet ski race is the most fun here. The controls are still downright unreliable, but it's the one that feels the fastest, like I'm literally moving the fastest through the level. This is kind of a problem with all the linear skating segments. It feels like I'm going too slow. You can build up your rocket meter to gain more base speed, but even with that and the boost pads, these races feel so unexciting and honestly kind of half-assed. You can't do tricks on the jet ski, and there are no interesting obstacles or elements except for a grind rail here and there for any of the other races. The hoverboard one is especially dull. It's basically just a long, winding hallway. It's not nearly as fun as it could have been. You know who was having the most fun throughout this game, though? The fucking composer. The music is legitimately really good, and it's poppin'.
See ya, loser.
What is up with mediocre games having great music? These songs fucking bop. Although I don't know if this is just an emulator thing, but the music would fade out and start playing again instead of looping. I know some old video games used to do that, but what's weirder is that sometimes it would fade out only to play a more intense section or version of the same song. I wasn't sure if the music was responding to the gameplay or if it was just moving through a playlist or something. Beat Gollum and the game speed runs his redemption arc. Any percent, casual difficulty, tool assisted. Like, it's revealed legit that his father never loved him. Thank you, Elon. Very cool. And everyone's just like, hey, stop being a little bitch. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, dude fucking summoned a tsunami to wipe you motherfuckers out. He doesn't get a woogity. He needs Prozac and counseling. After you beat the game, you get access to some bonus content. I unlocked the actual full first 2 episodes of Rocket Power, which value-wise is way better than the entire fucking game. It was nice seeing these characters again, and I'm pretty sure the voice actors reprised their roles too. But anyway, that's all I've really got for you. Transition. Have you given this game a piston? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What should I eat for breakfast? Over here next to my head is that goddamn Pokemon Arceus review, which the YouTube algorithm fucking hated despite me spending months creating it. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, please, like it and watch it. Watch it before you like it. Remember to like and comment and share and all that good stuff. Love you guys. Thanks for sticking with me. Bye, guys.